Hey, it's Leo, founder and CEO of Ascend AI. Before we dive in, I just want to share a quick note with you. As you know, AI is slowly expanding into our personal and professional lives. As a result, it's become hard for most of us to distinguish reality from mirage and real from fake. So to clear the air here, right off the bat, this episode uses AI-generated voices. It's not because I'm counting corners, though. It's because I'm counting time. The research, the frameworks, the solutions, the numbers, the hard lessons, they're all ours. They're all sharpened by our experience, our observations, and the actual work we've done with D2C brands as we built AI into their systems. I chose AI voices here for one simple reason, which is speed. This way, I can ship you useful content weekly instead of monthly. The quality, the thinking, and the brutal honesty of what works and what doesn't, that's all preserved. At the end of the day, this isn't theory. This is actually based on what we do in real life. However, in the near term, in the future, I'm also planning to invite guests to kind of add some sort of a flavor to these types of episodes. So bear with me on this one. I would rather give you the entire playbook right now than wait months just to simply record it, quote unquote, properly. You see, most founder podcasts sounds great, but leave you with nothing actionable. I don't think anyone is okay with that. So simply here, I'm optimizing for the opposite. If the voices miss an inflection here and there, that's simply the trade-off of using third-party tools and not building it from scratch. But the substance though, that's real. Every mistake I'm warning you about, we've either seen founders make it or we've cleaned it up in a real use case in real life. The voices here basically are just simply a delivery mechanism. So my ultimate goal here isn't perfect production. It's simply shipping insights that save you quarters and make you relevant in the AI space with no fluff or unnecessary info. So to wrap this up, I hope you'll enjoy this episode. If something doesn't click, if you think I missed something, said something wrong, or if you have topic suggestions for that matter, just reach out to me on LinkedIn or X. Literally, your feedback shapes where this podcast goes in the future. And if you want us to dig deeper and audit your brand and scale your revenue with AI, reach out to us at Ascend AI. Pretty much all these links, whatever I mentioned, are going to be linked in the show notes below. And that's what we do here on a regular basis. So with that out of the way, thanks for sticking around, and I would like to welcome you now to the No Code Founder Podcast.
Today we are talking about something that is quietly killing profitability for D2C businesses. It's this hidden margin tax that gets levied by fraud and abuse. And this isn't just about someone shoplifting a product, right? It's leakage across the entire customer journey.
It is. It's a huge blind spot. I mean, founders see the cost of the product, but they completely miss the massive operational overhead that all this abuse creates. So I think to start, we really need to quantify that pain so you understand just how serious this is.
Okay, let's do that. Give us the raw data. Why is this so much more than just a small cost of doing business?
Let's start with returns. The average return rate in the U.S. for retail is already high. It's about 14.5%.
Wow.
But the abuse inside that number is staggering. For every $100 in products that come back, retailers are losing $13.70 to either fraud or just, outright abuse.
$13.70, so more than an eighth of the value. Just
evaporates.
Yeah.
That's a huge hole. But payment fraud, that's where the cost multiplier gets really brutal, isn't it?
It absolutely is. I mean, when we factor everything in, the lost revenue, the fines, the labor it takes to handle the dispute, all the card network fees, every single dollar of payment fraud actually ends up costing a U.S. business about $3.75.
Wait, say that again? $3.75. So if the fraudster gets a $1,000 transaction through on a stolen card, you're actually down nearly $4,000.
Almost $4,000, yes.
That is, at scale, that's an existential threat.
And if you don't get it under control, you hit what I call the nuclear danger zone. The card networks, they have these very strict thresholds. If your ratio of chargebacks to total transactions gets close to, say, 0.9% or 1.0%, they start watching you very closely.
And if you cross that line,
you're facing fines, your processing fees skyrocket, and you could actually lose your ability to accept cards entirely. It attacks the very core of the business.
Okay, that really puts this into perspective. This isn't just a compliance check. We're talking about protecting your ability to even sell. So our mission today is to build a practical, structured framework to plug these leaks promos, loyalty, returns, payments, and do it without alienating all the good customers you rely on.
To solve it, we first have to map it. We need to identify all the ways attackers are probing your system. Let's break the leaks down into 5 major buckets where brands are losing margin.
All right, break down the battlefield for us.
Okay, number 1 is promo abuse. This is the easiest one for them to automate and scale. Think about those one-time welcome codes or discount links that get shared publicly on Reddit or Discord.
Right, they go viral.
Exactly. Then they're stacking a customer using, say, 3 different discounts when you only ever intended for them to use one. And maybe the most insidious is affiliate hijacking, where these coupon browser extensions just automatically apply leaked codes at checkout. They're basically stealing margin from you on every single sale.
And that just trains your customers to expect a huge discount every time they shop. What's next?
Number 2, loyalty and rewards fraud. The biggest danger here is account takeover, or ATO.
ATO.
Bad actors steal customer logins and then they just drain all their loyalty points or use their saved credit cards. We also see these pretty sophisticated scripted points farming operations.
Farming points.
Yeah, bots automating a bunch of low-value actions over and over just to stockpile rewards points.
Okay, this is where it gets really clever. You mentioned something surprising, laundering store credit. How on earth does that scheme work?
It's incredibly effective because it cleans the money. So a fraudster uses a stolen credit card to buy, say, a mid-range item. They immediately process a return, but, and this is the key, instead of refunding to the stolen card, they ask for store credit.
Because the store credit is untraceable.
Exactly. That credit is now clean. They use it to buy high-value goods like electronics or a designer jacket, and then they immediately sell those items for cash on a marketplace.
So they've just monetized a stolen credit card. And your loyalty program was the washing machine.
That's a perfect way to put it. Yes.
Terrifying. Okay, what's bucket number 3?
Returns abuse. And this goes way beyond the classic wardrobing, buying a dress, wearing it once with the tags tucked in, and sending it back.
Right.
Now we're dealing with empty box swaps, where someone returns a box of rocks and claims the expensive item was inside.
No way.
Oh, yeah. And then you have serial returners who just abuse generous policies and bracketing.
Bracketing.
That's ordering 5 different sizes or colors of the same item with the full intention of keeping only one and returning the other 4. Your warehouse becomes their personal fitting room.
And if your team on the ground isn't vigilant, you could actually resell that damaged or counterfeit item to a legitimate customer, the ultimate trust breaker.
Precisely. Which brings us to number 4, payment fraud. This is the classic stuff like card testing.
Where they run small charges to see if a stolen card is active.
Exactly. But it also includes things like triangulation scams, ATO for saved payment details, and the biggest headache for most merchants.
Friendly fraud.
Friendly fraud. That's where a real customer disputes a charge they know they made just to get the product for free.
It's the most common type. And finally, bucket 5 is peak risk moments.
So, specific times we need to be on high alert.
Yep. Fraudsters are smart. They attack when your teams are busiest and most distracted. The risk spikes during a big site-wide sale, a limited edition product drop, or, crucially, when high-value loyalty points are being redeemed. These peak revenue moments can quickly become your peak loss moments.
Okay, this framework makes a huge, messy problem feel solvable. It breaks it down. So let's get tactical. Let's start with promos and loyalty. How do we stop that automated leakage?
You need 3 layers of defense working together: policy, technical enforcement, and analytics.
Okay, policy first. What needs to be written down explicitly?
You have to start by defining your discount combinability.
Combinability. Just write it down. Welcome codes cannot stack with affiliate codes. Or VIP loyalty points can't be used on sale items. If it's not documented, your system can't enforce it.
And the technical part is where we finally solve that Reddit coupon problem.
Exactly. The big technical shift is moving away from those static public codes like Influencer 20 and toward unique API-generated codes. Something like INF John NXYZ 123 that has a short expiry date. But the most important part is where you validate the code.
Tell me more about that. I hear about front-end versus server-side validation. What's the difference?
So most basic coupon systems, they validate the code right there in the browser. That's the front end.
Okay.
And that's a massive vulnerability because these coupon browser extensions, they can read the front-end code, find the coupon field, and just start testing thousands of leaked codes until one works.
It's like leaving the cash register open on the sidewalk.
That's a great analogy. Server-side validation is the answer. The browser sends the code to your secure server, and your server checks the rules. Does it exist? Has this user already used it? Can it be combined? If the server says no, the discount is rejected. The browser extension is totally useless because it can't get past your server's rules. This is non-negotiable for real loss prevention.
That's a critical difference. What other technical tools do we have?
Velocity limits. How many times can one code, one device, or one IP address try to get a discount in an hour? You set low ceilings on that to block the bots. And then on the analytics side, you run redeem and watch reports. If some random affiliate link suddenly drives 500 redemptions in an hour, that's a huge red flag that needs an immediate investigation.
And going back to loyalty, that earn then return abuse, how do we stop people from getting points for an order they're just going to refund?
It's all about timing. You have two good options. First, you can defer issuing the points until the return window has completely closed, usually 30 or 45 days. Or you automate the clawback. The second a refund is processed, the points from that original purchase are automatically deducted from their account.
But if we tighten all of this up, don't we risk just annoying our good customers? I mean, if my unique code fails, I don't want to see some angry error message.
That is the art of calibration. And you're right, you never want to show a hard, disappointing error. Instead, you offer a safe fallback. So if their code is invalid, you automatically switch them to a lower value, but still positive offer, like free shipping.
Ah, so you protect the margin, but still give the customer a win.
You preserve the relationship, exactly.
Okay, that preserves the margin and the experience. Let's switch gears to returns. For anyone shipping physical goods, this is where a ton of capital gets tied up.
Returns are inevitable, but a lot of them are actually preventable.
Yeah.
And that prevention starts way before the sale on your product detail pages, your PDPs.
So better photos, better descriptions, that sort of thing.
Yes, but go deeper. Use really accurate sizing charts. But crucially, you need to mine your own customer reviews for intel. If you see dozens of reviews saying a particular dress runs small, you need to put that information right on the PDP. That simple act of transparency can prevent so many unnecessary returns.
And what about that bracketing trend you mentioned, ordering multiple sizes?
You can fight that with fit and quiz tools. They guide the customer to the right size based on your data and what they tell you. The goal is to get them to order the right size the first time.
Let's talk about policy hardening. If we start asking for things like photo evidence for a return, won't we just annoy our best customers? That feels like adding friction.
That's where you use a dynamic return window. You absolutely treat customers differently based on their history. For your VIPs, your best customers, you offer a generous, long return window, maybe 60 days, very little friction. But for a confirmed serial returner, someone your system has flagged, you tighten that policy to, say, 14 days, and you do require photo evidence for anything high value.
So the friction is targeted only at the source of the abuse. That makes a lot of sense.
And you have to require an RMA, a return merchandise authorization, with reason codes before they can ship anything back. This gives you visibility. Then, when the item arrives, you grade it. A for resaleable, B for needs refurbishment, C for write-off or suspected abuse. And you feed that data right back to your product team. You have to close the loop.
How do you catch the people who just create a new email to get around the system?
You have to track the individual, not the email. You do that with device and email fingerprinting. A fraudster can change their name, but it's much harder to change their device or their IP address. And for high-value returns, you need weight checks. If a $400 code is supposed to weigh 3 pounds and the box you get back weighs 3 ounces,
It gets flagged for an empty box scam before any refund goes out.
before a penny is refunded. Yes.
Okay, we've plugged the returns leak. Now let's defend the core payment system. This is that source of that huge $3.75 self-multiplier, the payment defense grid.
Right. You need a layered approach here, starting with the day one baselines. You have to enable AVS address verification service and CVV checks on every single transaction. No exceptions. Set aggressive velocity rules to stop card testing and block suspicious bins.
What's a bin exactly, and why is blocking one important?
A BIN is the bank identification number. It's the first 6 to 8 digits of the card number, and it tells you which bank issued the card and what type of card it is. Certain BIN ranges are almost always associated with anonymous prepaid gift cards or, specific countries known for high fraud. Blocking them is a simple, effective first step.
And beyond those static checks, what are the advanced signals a modern fraud engine is looking for?
It's looking at behavior. It's flagging things like impossible travel. Someone logs in from New York and tries to buy from London 2 minutes later. It looks for bot-like signals, like copy-pasting a card number instead of typing it, or a checkout process that happens in under 20 seconds. That's not human behavior.
And this is where AI and machine learning come in, right? How are they different from the old static rules?
Static rules are just binary. If X happens, then block Y. They're easy to get around, and they produce a ton of false positives, which means you're blocking good customers.
Which costs you money.
A lot of money. AI engines are probabilistic. They analyze thousands of data points and assign a risk score from 1 to 99. This lets you be much more nuanced and adapt faster.
So how do we apply that necessary friction like two-factor authentication without destroying the customer experience?
Through targeted friction. You use tools like 3D Secure 2 or 3DS2, but only when it's absolutely necessary.
So what's 3DS2?
It's that step-up authentication, where you get a text code or a push notification. But you only trigger it on transactions your risk engine has already flagged as highly suspicious. Or in places like the EU, where it's legally required. You never slow down every single checkout.
You preserve the flow for the other 95% of good customers. Now, what about friendly fraud? How do we win those disputes?
With layered evidence. First, use clear billing descriptors on their credit card statement. Second, always get proof of delivery confirmation. And third, you have to leverage Visa Compelling Evidence 3.0.
Okay, CE 3.0, that sounds important. What data do we actually need to capture to use it correctly?
You need to prove that the transaction was authenticated by the real account owner. So you have to present data like the device ID used for the purchase, the account's login history, the location of previous undisputed transactions from that same device. If you could show a history of good purchases from that same device and login, you have compelling evidence to get that friendly fraud chargeback overturned.
That requires deep integration, but it directly fights that $3.75 loss. What about alternative payments like BNPL or prepaid card?
They need their own monitoring. Prepaid cards need tighter order value limits because they're anonymous. And for buy now, pay later services, you have to watch for patterns where people use the service, get the product, and then immediately abuse the return policy for a cash refund before the BNPL provider even gets paid.
We've covered a ton of ground here. Let's tie it all together with an action plan. This sounds like a lot to implement.
It has to be staged. You have to prioritize the highest ROI actions first. We recommend a 30, 60, 90-day plan.
Okay, days 1 to 30, the foundations. Where do you start?
Documentation and the absolute basics. Finalize your policies on promo combinability and returns. Turn on AVS and CVV. And most importantly, move your highest volume affiliate and welcome codes to unique server-validated codes immediately. Just secure the front door first.
Okay, month 2, days 31 to 60. Controls and data, we've got the basics. Where do we go next? Now you start connecting the dots. Implement device and email fingerprinting to catch repeat offenders. And start unifying your risk scoring across all 4 buckets, so a risky returns customer is also flagged as risky at checkout. And this is when you start piloting targeted 3DS and configuring your data capture for CE 3.0.
Why is capturing CE 3.0 data so important in this middle phase?
Because it takes time to build that history. You can't fight friendly fraud with yesterday's data. You need to start collecting those device IDs and login histories now so that 30 days from now, you actually have a case to make.
Right. And the final push, days 61 to 90. Optimize and scale. This is about fine-tuning.
Exactly. Now you A/B test your friction levels to reduce your insult rate, the number of good customers you accidentally block. You tighten up your affiliate program based on the data you've gathered, and you push for more exchanges over refunds. And you set up a quarterly review with your payment service provider to see what new threats they're seeing.
That is a clear roadmap to cutting that hidden tax. What about sustainability? How do you make sure these good habits stick? It's all about governance. Fraud is not a one-person job. You need a cross-functional risk committee, marketing, finance, engineering that meets monthly to review the numbers and talk about new threats.
This whole deep dive really shows that abuse is so organized, so automated, so our defense has to be automated too.
That's the key takeaway. You can cut these losses with clear policies, server-side enforcement, and targeted friction. Start with the big wins, tune your system constantly for the customer experience, and use every attack during a big promo as a signal to tighten a rule.
The framework is here, it's actionable, and the payoff is real margin recovery.
My final thought for you to consider is this. Attackers are constantly automating their methods. They're always looking for new holes. If you aren't continually updating and automating your own defenses, feeding new data back into your rules every single month, you are choosing to fight yesterday's war with tomorrow's threats. You have to treat fraud defense not as a cost center, but as an essential dynamic product feature.